I hope y'all ain't getting tired of riding on my Husqvarna lawnmower. I'm going to do a little vlog today. I thought I'd talk a little bit while I'm out here going to the back of the woods. These cars going by make so much noise, so let's go out to the back and then I'll talk. Good day, viewers. It's a pretty day in Georgia. I was just reflecting this morning on the modern times that we live in. What am I talking about? Sitting around with a sore back all morning. In the old days, you just had to struggle right through it, but I found a couple of pain pills, so that's got me feeling pretty good. Resting, muscle relaxers, I guess is what it is, that I didn't throw away from last time, so I'm using them. And they seem to be working pretty good. After a few days, I'll get my back to normal. But I sit around all morning in my pajamas, not doing nothing, just resting in the easy chair, which is probably harder on my back than sitting in front of the computer. But I was watching over there in Notre Dame, Paris, France, and I was watching this, where the fire was, it burned up Notre Dame Cathedral over there. I was watching these men on a crane, a big boom crane, chiseling a statue off the top of that thing, watching it live. They're a couple 100 feet in the air, hanging on a little platform in a big old long boom crane. I'm going to show you some photos that I copied right off my TV. And I worked with a crane long enough to know just what a precarious predicament those men are in. It ain't something you can practice and do every day. You don't know how much that statue weighs, and I'm sure they don't go that high up in the air on that little boom crane normally. But 3 or 4 men were out there on the end of that thing, chiseling and chopping, and they finally got the statue lifted off and lowered down to the ground. You think about that. A few years ago, if you'd have told somebody you were going to be sitting in your living room somewhere in Georgia watching a statue being lifted off of Notre Dame in Paris, France, well, they would have locked your ass up in the insane asylum. No way would they have believed that would be possible. I'm not exaggerating. They literally would have locked you up. That boy's lost his mind. Just think, he said that they would be making video cameras and you could watch them live from another country. He's definitely lost his mind. Anyway, the amazing times that we live in is really something. Get off me, bug. Came out to feed my deer. I've noticed in my deer videos that buck is starting to grow his antlers back. In fact, he's growing them back pretty darn fast. If I wasn't scared of snakes, I'd go looking around the woods trying to find his old antlers. Sure, he knocked them off out there somewhere. Could not ask for a prettier day. But anyway, I thought I'd show you a couple little photos of Notre Dame over there where they were taking that statue down. Now, you think about hanging on that boom crane, how precarious predicament they are in. All you got is 4 outriggers sticking out on the side of that crane, which is probably no bigger than a big truck. Them outriggers, the hydraulic cylinders that hold them out, it's got your life in their hands. Plus you're straight up to the point, just about the point of being overbalanced. Several places on the way up that extending boom, they got these big hydraulic cylinders. You know, if a cylinder breaks, it's going to come down. They might have some check valves on some of them lines up there, but if a cylinder breaks or a line breaks, you can pretty well bet that crane's coming down. But them men had the guts to go up there and chop that statue down. And I was real impressed. They done a right fine job. I don't know how many of you watched it live, but I did. Shame about old Notre Dame having their fire and burning up stuff 800 years old. People are offering to send money to rebuild it, but you know, it's irreplaceable. Oh, they might make it look similar, but it won't be the same anymore. They were fortunate in the fact that they had took down a bunch of the copper statues and gargoyles and stuff because they were in the process of renovating that place. I guess eventually they might find out what started the fire. Could have been an electrical short, or maybe, I don't know, if somebody could have been burning with a torch doing reconstruction. Anyway, the fire got going. They said they don't believe it's any terrorism. But as far as being terrorized or terrified, you can bet if I was up on the top of that boom crane, I'd have been somewhat terrified. I watched on TV yesterday these men over there, and they might have been French too, somewhere. They're diving off this diving board 90 to 100 feet up in the air. The people down there look like little dots. And they jump diving out into the river. Do about 2 or 3 flip-flops on the way down, and then land in the water. You know, my mama didn't raise no fool. You ain't gonna get me up on no crane. You ain't gonna get me diving off no real high dive. In the Navy, we had to go up on a high dive, which was probably as high as that boathouse out there. And that simulates jumping off the deck of a ship. And we had to jump in this swimming pool. You'd be surprised how many men were terrified to jump off that diving board. I wasn't one. I grew up in Florida diving off of diving boards. But when you get 90 feet up in the air, that's a little bit beyond my range. We saw this, I'm getting off the track here, but I saw this guy in the Navy. They weren't none too lenient with us. They were tough on us. To get you graduated from boot camp, you had to know how to swim. Well, this guy got up in line, waiting to get off that diving board. And they caught him sneaking back around to the other side of the pool where the other men had already jumped. But he stuck out like a sore thumb because his bathing suit was dry. Anyway, they escorted him straight to the head of the line. Shoved him up that ladder. It's a good 2 stories high. He got up on that platform. He wouldn't jump. So they went up there and pushed him off. Well, he really couldn't swim. He kept going down in the water, going down. Every time he'd come up, they'd take a pole and push him back out there and say, "Swim, damn you, swim." They finally dragged him in before he about drowned himself. I don't know if he ever got out of boot camp or not, but the day I left there at graduation, I saw him in another company. Of another beginner company. I guess they were giving him swimming lessons or something. But it don't take much to terrify some people. Just like I'm right here by this old stove. You let a snake come out of that thing, I'll show you somebody terrified. I'll be getting up off this seat. Anyway, that's not much of a vlog. Let me get out here and go feed these deer. I appreciate y'all listening to me. And this Pwalpar signing off.